Hello students. Today we are going to discuss computer methods or applications in power systems. The short form is CMPS or CAPS. The first chapter is network topology. So now let's see under network topology which are the contents and how the chapter is very important from the exam point of view. So now network topology, it is nothing but it is one kind of geometrical representations, right? Here I mention, right? So network topology is nothing but geometrical interconnections of the various branches, right? Is called the topology of the networks. So different network are present in the systems, like railway networks are there, then after that your telephonic networks are there, transport networks are there. So suppose these are the different networks are replacing by a single lines, right? Single line including different nodes, then it is called the network topologies, right? So the connections of the network topology is shown by replacing all the physical element by lines, right? Single lines, right? That is called a graph, and the point or node that called the vertices, and that points are connected by different branches, right? That is called the elements, or sometimes it called the edges. Now in electrical terminology, suppose we want to understand what is meant by network topology and how it is applied to the systems. Now this is your single line diagram, right? Here you observe there is a generator, this is your bus, this is second bus, this is third bus. So generator is connected to the bus. After that, the transformer is connected between node 1 and node 2, that is nothing but bus 1 and bus 2, which is represented by T1. M is here the load, which is connected to the bus number 2. Between bus number 2 and bus number 3, a transformer is connected, right? That is represented by T2. And another load in terms of motor, it is connected to the bus number 3, right? This is your bus number 3. So this is a single line diagram they are given, and our task is we have to replace this diagram into reactance diagrams. So how we will do it? It is represented in this diagram that is called the reactance diagram. So first of all, we consider a two this node 1, node 2, node 3. So this is nothing but a buses, right? So total 1, 2 and 3, these three buses are present, and another is a ground bus, right? Here we are not mentioned, but this is G, ground node, right? If your generator is connected to the bus, one point is connected but other point should be a ground. So this is your ground point, reference point, we can say that. So now between this reference node, right, I said that here reference node, between the reference node 0, suppose between reference node to the bus 1, means this one plus here reference node, in between them there is a generators, and here this xg represent the reactance of the generators, right? Now between node 1 and node 2 there is a transformer, right? So we show it by xt1, that is nothing but reactance of the transformer 1, this one. Now next, node 2 or at bus number 2, we observe that there is a motor which is connected to the bus number 2. So here I am represented by xm. So xm is nothing but reactance of the motor, which is connected between the node number 2 and this ground, right? So this motor is connected here, node number 2, and either here other node is your ground node or reference node. Now next one is between node number 2 and node number 3 transformer T2 is connected, right? And so due to that we represented this transformer T2 in our reactance diagram like this. So XT2 is nothing but reactance of the transformer 2, and it is connected between node number 2 and node number 3 because your transformer is connected between these two nodes or between these two buses, right? Next one is node number 3. So you observe here your motor is connected to the node number 3 or bus number 3. So it is represented by Xm. So Xm is nothing but reactance of the motors. This reactance of the motor is connected between the reference node and node number 3. So this is your total reactance diagram. So in the examinations they may be ask you, they given some diagram like this single line diagram, and they ask you find out the reactance diagram and after that oriented graph. So from this single line diagram you should able to find out a reactance diagram like this. So while drawing the reactance diagram, main thing you should find out how many nodes are present in the single line diagram or given systems. After that try to connect the things. Now next step is once you formulate this reactance diagram, then replace this reactance diagram into the graph, that is called the oriented graph. Graph is different, oriented graph is different, right? Graph means only the lines. Suppose I draw a diagram like this, so it is called a graph. And when I assign some directions to particular branches, then it is called oriented graph, right? So now we design the oriented graph from this diagram. So first of all we have to assign, this is reference node is nothing but 0, so I consider here 0 node. After that node number 1 is here, node number 2 is here, and 3 is here. Now I connected these nodes, right? 1 2 I connected and I form this diagram, and this direction branch number 1 2 3 4 5, in this case it is randomly assigned, right? 1 2 3 4, this number is randomly assigned and direction is also randomly assigned. But in the examinations when they are asking the particular question like this, in that case they mention the directions or they give some tricks or some inputs how to assign that particular direction for particular branch. When we are going to see in the upcoming slide to solve the numerical which is based on this concept, at that time we better understand. Now let's see next point. Now in this case, suppose the diagram is given like this directly and they ask you find out the bus incidence matrix or element node incidence matrix. So element node incidence matrix is represented by A cap, and if they ask you to find out bus incidence matrix, in that case it is represented by simply A. Now how to find out this element node incidence matrix? So let's see. Now from this diagram, if you want to find out element node incidence matrix, how you can going to find out? So first of all, this is your A cap, means this A cap is represented element node incidence matrix. So element node incidence matrix is nothing but it is a matrix between our branches and nodes. So let's see, I draw here branches versus node. So I simply represented B for branches, N for nodes. So how many nodes are there in this particular graph? If you observe, this is 1, 2, 3 and 4. So total 4 nodes are there. So here in the horizontal manner I am going to write down 0, 1, 2, 3. So this is total 4 nodes. How many branches are there? Total 5 branches are there. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. These are the 5 branches. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4 and this one is 5. Now the important point, how you fill this matrix. How you fill this matrix. So always remember, when you are going to write down the matrix for 0 column or any column, you should see the corresponding branches also. Now for 0 I am going to write down the matrix. So those are the branches which are outgoing from particular node, that is written as positive 1, and those are incoming towards the node, that is written as minus 1. So in this diagram, if you observe, this 4 and 5 is outgoing from the particular node number 0. So we can write this is positive 1. So here I am going to write down positive 1. This is positive 1 because it is outgoing from the nodes. Now next, one branch is here. So there is a no connections of this branch to this particular node number 0. So I simply written here 0. In a similar manner, this branch number 2 is not connected to node number 0. So it is simply 0. Now next, node number for branch number 3. Branch number 3 is connected between node number 0 and node number 2, and its direction is towards the 0 node. So that's why I am written here minus 1. Similarly, we are going to write down a matrices for the remaining nodes. Now node number 1. So here you observe that this is node number 1. For node number 1, branch number 1 and branch number 5 are connected. Branch number 1 is outgoing. So simply I am going to write down positive 1. Now branch number 5 is incoming towards the nodes, right? So incoming means minus 1. So here I am going to write down minus 1. Now other branches are not connected, particularly this node number 1. So I am going to simply write down 0. If there is a no connection for the particular node, then we can write down simply 0. Now next one is node number 2. So for node number 2, if you observe carefully, it is seen like that branch number 1, branch number 2 are incoming. So I am going to write down here branch number 1. So this is your branches, right? So branch number 1 is incoming, so minus 1. Branch number 2 is also incoming, so minus 1. Branch number 3, it is outgoing from the node number 2, so positive 1, and remaining branches are 0. Now next, for node number 3, it is observed that branch number 2 and 4 are connected to particular this node number 3. So branch number 2 is outgoing, so that's why it is positive 1. Branch number 4 is incoming towards the node, right? So that's why it is minus 1. And remainings are 0 because remaining branches are not connected to this particular node number 3. So simply we can write here 0. So this is your element node incidence matrix or branch node incidence matrix A. Now next is bus incidence matrix, which is represented by simply A. Right. So while finding bus incidence matrix, what you have to do, you just remove the reference column and rewrite the matrix. So in this case, this 0 node is your reference node. We said that this is 0 and this is my reference node. So you just remove this one, then you can get bus incidence matrix. So simply here I am going to write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I am going to remove this 0 column. So it will becomes 1, 2, 3, and I am write down the same matrix. So 1, 0, 0, 0, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, minus 1, and 0. So this is your bus incidence matrix. It is called bus incidence matrix, right? And this is called element node or branch node incidence matrix. The difference between these two, bus incidence matrix and element node incidence matrix or branch node incidence matrix, is in a bus incidence matrix we remove the reference column, right, and rewrite the branch node incidence matrix. That is called bus incidence matrix. Always remember how to find bus incidence matrix. So first find out the branch node incidence matrix, and after that remove that first column, then it will become bus incidence matrix. Now some basic terminologies are there, and on the basis of that, number of times in the examination they ask the questions like define the connected graph. Even some objective, multiple objective questions are designed on the basis of this basic terminology. Now here a connected graph, very simple. Here a definition is given. This is a graph where at least one path exists between any two nodes of the graph as shown in a figure 2.3, right here. So this is your connected graph. Here you observe that there is a path exists between these two a graph, that is called the connected graph. Here this is unconnected graph because this graph is separate, this graph is separate. Okay. Now the subgraph, there are the conditions. If that conditions are satisfied, then we can say that a subgraph. So G1 is a subgraph of G if the following conditions are satisfied, right? When we say that it is subgraph, if your G1 is satisfied a given condition. First, G1 is itself graph. Every node of G1 is also node of G. Next, every branch of G1 is a branch of G. If these three conditions are satisfied, then we can say that G1 is a subgraph of G. So let's say the example, this is your G, right, and this is your G1, right. Suppose I draw some a diagram here like this, right, and I separate over this part. So this part is called the subgraph of this one, right, G. Likewise, suppose your parents is your main graph, that is G, and U is the subgraph G1. So parents is main graph and their children are subgraph. Means all the properties or DNA properties, all that properties will be present in their childs, right. So that's why G1 is itself a graph. Every node of G1 is also the node of G. Every branch of G1 is a branch of G. For example, this is your main graph. Suppose I said that this is G and this is your G1. So here it is clearly observed that their shapes, their directions is same as of your main graph, right. So this is the conditions. Now degenerate subgraph means this is a subgraph which consists just one node. There is only one node. In that case we say that degenerate subgraphs. So this terminology very important from the MCQ based questions. Now next is a loop. Degenerate subgraph is already over. When we said the degenerate subgraph, when it consists of just one node, right? For example, suppose I draw a point, so that is a degenerate subgraph. Now loop is nothing but, in a simple manner, it is a closed path, right? Suppose this is the closed path, it is called the loop, and it not form the loop like this, right? So in the figure, in this figure particularly, set 2 6 7, so this is your 2, this is your 6, and this is 7, so this is form the loop, right? Suppose somebody said that 2 6 7 8 5 4, so like this is 2, then 6, then this is here 7 8 5 4. This is not form the loop. Loop means it is only one closed path, right? Cut set, that is also important, that will we cover in the next slide. So at this point you just remember, to satisfy the cut set conditions, there are the two conditions: the removal of all branches of the cut set. What will happen? The remaining graph to have a separate unconnected subgraphs. And another conditions, the removal of all but one of the branch of the set leaves the remaining graph connected. So from this theoretical background, we not understand that much the concept of cut set, but while solving the numerical, you better way understand the concepts. Now let's see next point, a tree. So very important in the examinations, different MCQ questions is designed on the basis of this concept tree. So what is meant by the tree? So it is a connected subgraph containing all the nodes of the graph G, but without any closed path or loops. There is a only one path between every pair of the node in a tree. So the element of the tree are called twins or tree branches, right? So first, in these three lines they are given two concepts: what is meant by tree, and the element of tree is called what? So element of tree is called twins or tree branches. So first condition is, when we say that it is a tree, if the graph containing all the nodes of graph G but without any closed path, then we said that it is a tree. For example, this is your main graph G, okay, and I said that my figure I2 are my a tree. How, on the which basis I said that? In this figure you clearly observe that all the nodes are present: node 1, node 2, node 3, and node 0 is present, but there is a no closed loop. Here there is a no closed loop. Now another diagram you see, here you observe that all the nodes are present, but there is a no loops. So this is also called the trees. This is also called the trees. Now how to find out the trees, right? So that is nothing but t is equal to n minus 1. This formula is very important from the MCQ question and for different examinations, basically a competitive examinations or any MCQ based examination. This formula is very important: t is equal to n minus 1. What it gives the idea? Now in a graph with n nodes and number of tree branches is given by, suppose you know that how many nodes in the graph, on the basis of that you can easily find out how many tree branches is there. For example, here now total node are 4, so 4 minus 1, it means total 3 twins or tree branches are there. Now according to that it is form the a tree graph. Here you observe that 1 2 3, here also 1 2 3, like only 3 tree branches are present. So the condition for tree, all nodes should be present but there is a no closed loop. and the element of the trees. So these are the element. These elements are called twigs or tree branches. Now next point is core tree means what? So core tree is very simple. The set of branches of original graph G not included in a tree is called the core tree, right? Means the branches which are not included in a your tree, that is called the core tree. For example, here this branch is absent, this branch is absent, here this branch is absent, this branch is absent. So these branches are called the core tree here, right? So this branch is here absent. For example, this is the your graph, and suppose this branch is absent, this branch is absent, right? This branch and this branch is absent. If you refer the previous, right? So suppose I said that draw the core tree for this particular diagram. So what is the core tree? So core tree will become like this, right? If I said draw the core tree for this diagram, then the core tree will become like this, right? The same here draw, right? That is called the core tree. So the branches which are absent in a tree, that is called the core tree. So core tree need not to be connected. The branches of the core tree are called links. Very important. Or maybe in a MCQ based examination they may be asked the branches of the core tree are called, and they may be asked and they give the option like links, cord or ties or all of the above. So in that case your answer will be links, cord, ties, all of the above, right? The core tree is corresponding to figure 2.4 as shown in a figure. So this is already I explained. So now number of links L is given by L is nothing but B minus T. But we know that T is nothing but N minus 1. So putting the values of T, that is become the equations B minus N minus 1. So it will becomes B minus N plus 1. So this is the formula for finding the number of links. In the GATE examinations also sometimes the numerical is asked on this formula for 1 marks or 2 marks. So this formula is very important. Now next point, incidence matrices, right? Element node or branch node incidence matrices, that is called incidence matrices. Now bus incidence matrices, that is represented by A. Okay, so now this is the diagram. So for that, these are the conditions that already I explained how to find out the branch node incidence matrix and bus incidence matrix. So if when it is 1, if we said that from 0th node the branch is outgoing, then it is positive 1. When it is towards the node, then it is minus 1. For example, minus 1 if the ith branch is incident to and oriented towards the jth node, right? So suppose this is your ith node and this is your jth node. So when it is outgoing from this ith node, then it is positive 1. And suppose when this branch is towards the jth node, then it is minus 1. And if there is a no relations between these two node, particular this branch, then it is simply 0. Okay. Now the example, through example we try to understand what is meant by branch node incidence matrix. Okay. Similarly, as I explained in the first slide, now we are going to find out the incidence matrix for this graph. So this is the graph they are given. So first thing you have to observe how many nodes are present in this diagram. So you clearly observe that total 5 nodes are present. 0 means 1, this is 2, 3, 4 and 5. So total 5 nodes I written in this manner in a horizontal way. And how many branches are there? Total 7 branches are there, that are I written in a vertical manners. And this is A cap, is represented, that is incidence matrix or branch node incidence matrix. Why it is said that branch node incidence matrix? Because we are written a matrix branches versus node, so it is also called the branch node incidence matrix. Now next thing is we have to draw this table. So how we are going to draw this table? So now for first node number 0. So for node number 0, you observe that branch number 1, branch number 2 and branch number 3 are associated with this node number 0. So 1, 2, 3 are outgoing. So that's why I am written here positive 1, positive 1, positive 1. And remaining branches, branch number 4, branch number 5, branch number 6, branch number 7. These are not connected to this node number 0. So your branch number 5 is here, 6 is here, 7 is here, 6 is here. So there is a no relation of these branches to this particular node. So that's why it is written as a 0. Now similarly for node number 1. So for node number 1, if you observe, node number 1 is here. So only two branches are associated with this node number 1. Branch number 1 and branch number 6. So now 1 is incoming, so it is minus 1 here, and 6 is outgoing, so it is positive 1. Now node number 2. So for the node number 2, it is observed that branch number 2 is incoming, so it is minus 1. 6 is incoming, so it is minus 1. 5 is outgoing, 7 is outgoing, right, here from this node. So that's why it is positive 1. So one thing it should make clear in your mind, those are outgoing from the particular node, then it is positive 1. Those are incoming towards the node, it is minus 1. Similar concept we are applying for the node number 3. Here 4 and 5 are incoming, right? So 4 and 5 are minus 1. Now node number 4. For node number 4, 3 and 7 are incoming. So 3 is minus 1, 7 is minus 1. And this branch number 4 is outgoing. So that's why it is positive 1. This is all about your incidence matrix, that is called the branch node incidence matrix. Now suppose they ask you find out the bus incidence matrix. So in that case your answer should be like this: A is equal to, remove this one and rewrite the matrix. That will become your bus incidence matrix. Now next, right here, this is your bus incidence matrix for this diagram, right? For this diagram, your bus incidence matrix, right? What we did, we are remove this column, right? So it will form bus incidence matrix, right? Now next, suppose they ask to find out a tree branch path incidence matrix. In that case your matrix will be different, right? So for example here, now consider one possible tree of the following graph of figure 2.7. Figure 2.7 means this figure, right? So they draw a tree, right? We know that how to find out a tree. T is equal to n minus 1. So how many nodes are there in this figure? So total 5 nodes are there. So 5 minus 1, so is equal to 4. So 4 twins or tree will be forms. So the graph will become like this. Now see here, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Here they are considering the 4 basic branches, and remaining branches they are removed to form the tree graph. Now for this diagram, suppose they ask to find out the graph, right? So this is called AT, means a twins graphs. Here also we are written branches 1, 2, 3, 4 and node is 1, 2, 3, 4. And for this diagram we have to write down the matrix. Now node number 0, for node number 0 branch 1, 2, 3 are outgoing. So that's why we can say that, right, here 1, 2, 3 these are the nodes, and 1, 2, 3 and 4 are the your branches. Now first one is -1, right? So always remember this 1, 2, 3, 4 you can directly taken from this also, right? So this is nothing but 1, 2, 3. If you divide this matrix, right? So this matrix belongs to A twins, and the remaining matrix, this matrix belongs to link, that is nothing but a branches of trees, right? So here this matrix is formed by using this matrix, right? Here -1 -1, right? So similar way here also -1 -1. This is your twins, and links is this one 5, 6 and 7, these are your links. In the previous slide I am also explained you, right, these links, chords or tries, that is called the co-trees of the tree, means the branches which are absent in a tree, that is called the co-tree. In other words, that called links, chord and tries, right? So now in this figure this branch is absent, this branch is absent, right? Now from like this branch is absent, so this 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, these are the links. So this is the link matrix. So always remember in the MCQ based examination they ask this question. So tree means all the nodes are present but no closed loop, that is called the tree, and the branches of the tree is called the twins, and the branches which are absent or element which are absent in a tree, that is called the co-tree, and the branches of the co-tree are called links, right, ties, like that. Now next, tree branch path incidence matrix K. So here the concept is based on these terminologies. They given some conditions, is if it is follow according to that we have to design the tree branch path incidence matrix. So what are that conditions? First, Kij. K means your tree branch path incidence matrix. I and J are the node, is equal to 1 if the ith tree branch is in the path from the jth bus to the reference bus and is oriented in the same directions. So here we have to write down the matrix in opposite to that of concept of incidence matrix formations, right? So now suppose this is the diagram, right? Suppose this is 0 node, this is 1, this is 2 and this one is 3, and direction is like this. So this is your ith and this is your jth. So it is towards the reference, then it is +1. If it is opposite to that, then it is -1. Same way, here is -1, and if there is a no relation, then it is 0. For example, now here 1, 2, 3, 4 are the nodes, 1, 2, 3, 4 are the branches. This is for figure 2.8, that is called the tree branch path incidence matrix. So 2.8 means this figure, right? If you refer this figure, here you observe that this 1, this is your jth and this is your ith, right? So now if it is towards the your jth node, right? For example, here I is equal to -1 if the ith tree branch is in the path from the jth bus to the reference bus and is oriented in the opposite directions, right? Is in the path jth bus to the reference bus and is oriented in the opposite directions, then it is -1. And when is it +1? Is +1 if the ith tree branch is in the path from the jth bus to the reference bus and is oriented in the same directions, right? So in that case it is positive 1, right? Ith tree branch is in the path from jth bus to the reference bus, right? If the directions of this, if the directions of this is like this, then it is positive 1. But now the direction is opposite, so it is minus 1. Now similarly for the branch number 2, right? This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and their directions are like this, they are given in the diagram, right? So this is minus 1. Now next is for node number 2. Here also you observe that this is your jth and this is your ith. This direction is opposite to that of the reference, right? So reference should be, means while writing down the matrix for this particular tree branch path incidence matrix, we should look jth node to the reference, jth node to the ith node, means reference node to the ith node. If the direction from jth node to the reference node, then it is positive, but it is opposite, then it is minus 1, right? So now in this case, first case, we should look like this, but the diagram given opposite to that, so minus 1. Here also we are looking from reference node, so jth is your reference node, this is your ith node. So from jth node to the reference your ith node, but direction is opposite, so minus 1. So similar concept is applicable here, and according to that we form the tree branch path incidence matrix. And this tree branch path incidence matrix is designed from this diagram, right? From this diagram. Okay, now next is a basic or fundamental cut set incidence matrix. So for that also there is a basic conditions. If that conditions are satisfied, then we can say that it is a cut set incidence matrix. So the basic or fundamental cut set contain only one twin and other remaining are links. So basic cut set for the tree diagram figure 2.8 are shown in a figure 2.9. So this is 2.9, and this diagram is designed from this diagram, right? So this is your main diagram, right? This is your main diagram. So here from the basis of formula we find out that total basic twins are 4, right? So 1, 2 and 3 and 4, right? So those are shown in a dark line, these are the twins. How we can decide it these are the twins? Because we know the formula T is equal to n minus 1. So in the from that we find out that total nodes are 5. So 5 minus 1 is equal to 4. So we go serially. So we say that 1, 2, 3, 4 are the twins. Okay. And in a cut set there is a condition, in one twin there is a only one cut set will be formed, right? So here you observe that one cut set only, here also one cut set only, right? This is dark, so here only one cut set will be, and there is a only one. And your these are the remaining 5, 6, 7, these are the links. Links may be cut 2, 3, 4, there is a no limit. Now next, what is the conditions? So the element of basic cut set incidence matrix B are given by Bij, right? That is nothing but basic cut set. I means your node, J means your node, is equal to 1 if the ith element is incident to and oriented in the same direction as the jth cut set. It means if the directions of this element is in the directions of the cut set, then it is positive 1. If it is outgoing from that particular cut set, in that case it is minus 1. If there is a no relation, then it is 0. Now let's try to understand through the numerical. So for this figure we design the cut set matrix. So these are the branches, so total 7 branches, right? If you count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so these are the total 7 branches. Branches means which are the connected between two nodes. That is called the element or branches. And how many cut set we form? Here we form the total cut sets are 4. And what are the condition to form the cut set? How we decide this will be cut set, this will be cut set? This is decided on the basis of the conditions. Which are the conditions? While forming the cut set, there should be only one twin and number of links. So, and generally we form such cut set like that, it should cut only one twin, right? So here cut only one twin, and their directions we are keep as per the direction assigned to your elements. So now these are the branches and these are the cut sets. So now how we assign this 1 0 0 minus 1 0? Let's see. So first cut set number 1 means this one. So we form the cut set like this. It will cut only one twin and others are linked. So it cut one twin and others are links. So the lines which are in a dark, that is nothing but twin. That is called the element of the trees. Okay. So now 1 is incoming towards the this cut set 1. So that's why it is positive 1. Right, and remaining branches there is a no connections with respect to this cut set 1, CS1. So that's why 0. Now next 6. So branch number 6 is outgoing from the cut set number C1. So that is minus 1. So simple logic. Those are incoming towards the cut set, that is positive 1, and those are outgoing from the cut set, that is minus 1. Now for the cut set number 2. So here I am forming the cut set like this. Like directions of the twins, and it cut one twin and others are links. So here also two directions is incoming towards the cut set number 2, so that's why it is positive 1. Now next 6 is also incoming, so that is positive 1. Now 7 and 5, these are outgoing. Here this is 5, this is 7, these are the outgoing, so that's why minus 1 minus 1. Now next cut set number 3. So here I am forming the cut set number 3 here. This is your twin 3. So I am forming cut set number 3 is like this. So it cut one twin and number of links. So 3 is incoming. So that's why it is positive 1. And next one is 5 is also incoming. So positive 1. 7 is also incoming because 7 is started from this point. 5 also started from this point. So that's why it is positive 1, and remainings are 0 because there is a no connections with respect to this cut set number 3. Now cut set number 4. How to form the cut set number 4? So cut set number 4 is formed like this, right? This is your cut set number 4. So here also you observe that branch number 4 is incoming, so that's why positive 1, right? 5 is also incoming, so it is positive 1 and remainings are 0. Sometimes the students ask, sir, why not we form the cut set like this, right? Because there is a condition, that condition is there should be only one twin and others are links. So here if you form the cut set like this, it means there are the two twins, but the condition is there should be only one twin. So due to that we are not form the cut set like this. Okay, now next is augmented cut set in syntax matrix. So augmented means, as previous one we find out that total cut set are 4. In augmented cut set incidence matrix we have to form the matrices branches versus branches, right? So total 4 up to 4 it is same as common we can write, and remaining 5, 6 and 7 branches we just, those are the belongs to the diagonal element 5, like this 5 5 it is positive 1, 6 6 positive 1, and 7 it is positive 1. If you form the matrix like this, then it is called the augmented cut set matrix, which is represented by B cap. Okay, now next one is basic or fundamental loop incidence matrix. So if they are given the diagram, then it is very simple. to find out the loop incidence matrix. So loop incidence matrix how we are formed like this. It is represented by C. So C is equal to branches versus loop. Branches versus loop, this matrix. So these are the total 7 branches. If you count these branches, so total branches are 7. So that is written vertically. And how many loops are formed? This is loop 1, loop 2 and loop 3. And always consider this direction in a clockwise manner, right? So it is easy to write down. Now the directions of this loop, if in the same direction then it is positive 1. If it is not in the directions of the branches then it is -1. For example, loop number 1, this is your loop number 1, right? So here you find out, suppose it is started from, uh, suppose it is started like this. So here 1 is no relation, so 0. Branch number 2, now so your loop is like this, okay. So it is in the same direction, that's our positive 1. Now 3, now this loop is looking like this. So 5 is also positive, right here positive. 4 is in opposite, so it is -1. Now it is like this, so it is opposite, so it is -1. Okay, so similarly we are applying here and finding the loop incidence matrix. Okay, similarly here also loop incidence matrix. Now augmented loop incidence matrix, here also do the same things. Already we are calculated this one, right? Now remaining branches are total 7 branches. So for loop number 4, 5, 6, 7, you directly write down. For loop number 1, 1 is positive, 5, 1, 6, 1, 7, 1. Right? Directly you are write down the diagonal element is 1, 1, 1. So it becomes augmented loop incidence matrix. So augmented loop incidence matrix means it is nothing but open loop open loop matrix. In a practical way, it is not present. Right? Look in the diagram carefully. Right? So from that, we can directly able to find out the augmented loop incidence matrix, right? So whenever they ask you find out the augmented loop incidence matrix, so this matrix you already calculated, right? Now remainings are 4, 5, 6 and 7. These loops are depends on how many branches are there, like this one is 5, 6, 7, okay, and 4. So accordingly you have to write down here 4, 5, 6, 7 and write down diagonally 1, 1, 1, 1. So it will becomes augmented loop incidence matrix. So this 4, 5, 6, 7, these loops are open loops. Now connectivity. So connectivity, the meaning of the connectivity is nothing but suppose two elements or two nodes are there, and if you are connecting anything in between them, that is nothing but a connectivity. So connectivity plays a very important role in a network topology. So different concepts are there like edge connectivity, that is defined as the number of branches in the smallest cluster, one with the least number of branches, since the cluster denote the minimum number of branches whose removal of result in destroying the connectivity. So connectivities are very important, and this point is called the vertex, or in other term it is called the node, right? If you remove this node, then the graph will be divided. So here vertex connectivity. Vertex connectivity of connected graph G is defined as the minimum number of vertices whose removal of from G leaves the remaining graph unconnected. Right? It means suppose this is a graph, right? Suppose this is a small graph. Suppose I remove this one node, so it will becomes like this. Okay, so graph is divided, so that is the important. So vertex connectivity and edge connectivity, these two concepts are there under connectivity. Now next is primitive network. Very important, most of the students get confused. So primitive network is nothing but it is a set of such a network of such element which are not connected directly to each other, but then also it forms a network. That kind of network is called the primitive network. For example, here, if you read this sentence, a primitive element is a fundamental element which is not connected any other element. For example, this is the one element, this is second element. These two elements are not connected to each other, but also they form the network. So such a network is called the primitive network. So set of such unconnected element is defined as a primitive network. In this figure you observe that this is number element number 1, this is element number 2. They are separated from each other, may at a equidistance they are, but they form the a network, right, due to this mutual induction principle. So such network is called the primitive network, right, and such element is called the primitive element, right. So here as these primitive elements are fundamentally separated from each others. Now we are written these equations from this diagram. For example, suppose I want to write down the equation for this particular element. So how I am going to write? V1 is equal to L1 di1 by dt, right? So current is nothing but rate of change of charge, right, with respect to time. So that's why L1 into di1 by dt plus, now this element is indirectly connected to element number 2 through the mutual principle. So that's why mutual inductance M into di2 by dt. Similarly for V2 we are written M into di1 divided by dt plus L2 into di2 by dt. So this mutual is related to second element. In suppose you are going to write down the equation for V1, and this M1 is belongs to the di1 when you are going to write down the equation for V2. So these are the basic equation for the primitive networks. So from the objective point of view, they may be asked what is meant by primitive network. So primitive network means a set of such unconnected element which are not connected to each other, but it forms a network. That kind of network is called the primitive networks, and these are the equations. Okay, so these are the equations in the impedance matrix terms. Okay, now let's see some MCQ based questions on this particular topic or subject. A number of times in the different competitive examinations they ask the such questions. So these are the sample questions. They may be asked different questions also. So now let's see one by one. So first question is, the branches of core tree is called, links is also called, cord is also called, tree is called. So answer is all of the above. Element of tree are called twins, right? Now next, a connected subgraph containing all the nodes of graph G but without any closed path and only one path between every pairs of node is called as tree, right? Just I explained. So that is called the a tree. So in the tree all the nodes are present, right? So nodes are present but loops are not present. That is called the tree. And element of the tree is called twins. And element of tree are called twins, and these are the elements, these elements are absent, so these absent elements are called core tree, and the element of core tree are called links, cord, ties. Now next, in a graph with n nodes, the number of tree branches is given by this formula, t is equal to n minus 1. Next, what is the unit of impedance? It is ohm. A fundamental element which is not connected to any other element, a set of such unconnected element is defined as primitive network, right? Just I already said that. Primitive network is means the set of such elements which are not connected to each other, but it forms a network. For example, like this, right? These are the separate, then also it forms a network, right? This is L due to mutual inductance. So such network is called the primitive network. Which of the following is like a equivalent circuit of short transmission lines? So in a short transmission line, RL are present. So series RL circuit is the answer. There is only one magnetic flux path in the circuit. The transformer is definitely, so it is core type. If only one circuit path is present. Next one is the algebraic sum of voltages around any closed path in a network is equal to 0. A junction where two or more than two network element is meet is known as a node. Inductor, it is a passive element. Kilowatt hour is a unit of energy. For a load bus, very important, for a load bus, what are the quantities specified at load bus? So that is active power and reactive power. Normally Z bus matrix is a full matrix. Which of the following matrix is used for the load flow study? That is Y bus matrix. The value of off diagonal element is, that is nothing but which is connected between bus I and bus J with negative sign. So always remember, for diagonal element we are written positive 1, positive, and for off diagonal one, minus. Now next point, advantage of Gauss-Seidel method is calculation time for each iteration is less. In a load flow studies, PV bus is treated as a PQ bus when reactive power goes beyond the limit. Very important question. Number of times this question is asked in the different examination. For accurate load flow calculations on large power system, the best method is Newton-Raphson method. Specified quantities of slack bus are voltage and angle, right? Very important for the slack bus. Which of the following quantities are calculated for generator bus? That is nothing but reactive power and angle. Magnetic flux has a unit of Weber. Nodal analysis can be applied for both planar and non-planar network. Mesh analysis is applicable for planar network. Which quantity should be measured by voltmeter? Voltage, very simple. Which of the following quantities consist of SI unit as a watt? That is power. Unit of admittance is Siemens. What is the unit of inductance? Henry. Right. Now if we are adding any branch from reference node to the new node, then it comes under which types of modification matrix in impedance matrix? That is nothing but type 1. So meaning of this, if this is a reference node and suppose any element, new element is add, so this is comes under type 1 modification. Now if we adding any branch from existing node to the new node, then it comes under which types of modification in impedance matrix method? So it is comes under type 2. Suppose this is a reference, this is your new node, means that now it is becomes existing nodes and you are going to adding new branch, so it becomes a type 2 modifications. 1 farad is equal to 1 upon CV. Two resistance each of 4 and 12 connected in parallel, and then parallel combination is connected in a series with a 2 resistor. So what is the equivalence resistance, right? If you are applying here formula R series and RP, then the answer in that case will becomes Y. Now the unit of resistance is ohm. Now next, circuit is defined as interconnections of circuit element with a closed path. This is the first. In a series connection, the of element parameter is same, current. In parallel connection, voltage is same. A loop in a circuit is defined as a closed path. KCL is applicable to a junction. KVL is applicable to the closed path. Superposition theorem is applicable for a linear bilateral network. Faraday's first law, the induced EMF is dynamically induced EMF. Faraday's second law, induced EMF is statistically induced EMF. Now next is directions of dynamically induced EMF can be determined with the help of Fleming left hand rule. Self inductance is written as follows, right? All Thevenin's voltage is open circuit voltage. Ohm's law is applicable at constant temperature. Unit of inductance is Henry, very important. Unit of capacitance is Farad. Inductor store the energy, electrical, magneticals, and mechanical energies also, right? In terms of rings. Magnetic flux has a unit of Weber. So these are the MCQ based question which is asked in the different examinations, and also this question is a sample questions for your different university MCQ based examinations. So go through that, so you will get the idea what kind of question they may be asked in the examinations. So this is my YouTube page. You can subscribe so that you get the latest notifications. So thank you very much.